Finding a good Prebuilt PC as a beginner can be a really difficult task because aesthetics are not the thing that matters on these systems. They can look really nice, but if their components are not the best for the price, you are not going to get the expected performance. For that reason, I will show to you a bunch of Prebuilt PCs for different budgets. So if you have a budget between $500 all the way up to $4,000, this video will cover your budget. And don't worry if you don't understand about computers, because I will explain what these PCs are capable of running and at which resolution, which is really important when buying a gaming PC. You will have all the links down below in the video description. That being said, let's start. For $530 we have the first PC. We are talking about the HP Victus 15L. Now, before explaining anything, if you are thinking of buying this system, please click on customize and buy, go for the graphics card section and change it to the RX 5500. This has no extra cost to you, and the performance increase is going to be around a 20 to 25% on average just by doing this upgrade. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the components first and then what this PC is capable of running. For the CPU, you get the i5-12400, which is a great CPU, especially at this price point. It's a really high-end CPU for the price of $525. Then you get 8 gigs of RAM, 2x4, meaning that it's dual channel, and 256 gigs of SSD. These are the only things that I do recommend you upgrading if you have the budget to. The next PC is $900, so I do recommend you doing upgrades until you reach $800 if that's your budget. So let's say you have around $800 and you can't go to $900, then I do recommend you upgrading the system with the RTX 3050 for the GPU, then add 16 gigs of RAM and 500 gigs of SSD. The total price will be $820, so you can play with the configuration a little bit. The main thing that I do recommend you upgrading if you want the best price to performance upgrade is the graphics card, and after that I do recommend you upgrading the RAM. Anyway, this PC, without any upgrades, only the RX 5500, which is free, you will get a nice and decent 1080p experience, especially if you play esports titles like CSGO and Valorant, and also if you play games like GTA 5 or even Red Dead Redemption 2. For $525, I don't think you can get any Prebuilt PC that is going to perform better than this one when it comes to gaming at 1080p. For the next one, we have one that is $900 and you get the same i5-12400 CPU. This one is actually the i5-12400F, which means that it doesn't come with integrated graphics, but you don't need the integrated graphics because you get the RTX 3050. Then you get also 1TB of SSD and 16 gigs of RAM. You don't need to upgrade anything here. It's a really nice 1080p gaming PC that is also really nice looking. You get 4 RGB fans, 3 on the front and 1 on the back, and on top of that you get a front mesh panel which is great airflow. You get a 600 watt 80 plus cold power supply, which is way bigger than the last PC. So we are talking about a more upgradable system down the line that is also going to perform better at 1080p. With the 3050, there's no game that you can't run at 1080p, at least 60 plus FPS on average on high settings. Of course, it's going to depend on the game, but for the esports titles I've mentioned before, you will be able to run this at above 144 FPS on average, meaning that if you want a high refresh rate 1080p monitor, it's definitely possible. Then for $1,000 we have a system that is more of a 1080p really high FPS or 1440p starter PC. We are talking about another Victus 15L, but this one is quite different from the last one. Like I said before, it's $1,000, so if your budget is $1,000, I would go with this one without a doubt, because you get the RX 6600 XT. The other components around this system are great as well, with 16 gigs of RAM, 1TB of hard drive alongside 500 gigs of SSD and a Ryzen 7 5700G. You don't need to worry about any of these. The main component here is the RX 6600 XT. And let me tell you, you will get really high FPS for 1080p, and if you want to start gaming at 1440p, it's also possible with this GPU. Now, it's not going to be the best 1440p GPU out there, but it is going to be enough to get you started. Now, for $200 extra, $1,200, we have a Nebula PC with the Ryzen 5 5600 and the RTX 3060 Ti. This means that it's going to be a good 1440p gaming PC. The 3060 Ti is a bit better than the 6600 XT, so it's no longer longer a starter for 1440p. This is more of a 1440p gaming PC. You can also play 1080p really high FPS just like the last one, but if you buy this system, I do recommend you having a 1440p 144Hz monitor, since you will be able to take advantage of those type of monitors. It looks the same as the other Nebula, so in terms of airflow and cooling system, it's going to be really good. Now for $1,400 on Amazon, you can get the Kronos Gaming PC. It has the exact same components as the Nebula from before, but instead of the 3060 Ti, you get the 3070, and instead of a 600 watt 80 plus gold power supply, you get a 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply. The 3070 is better than the 3060 Ti, especially if you're going to play at 1440p. The last one is $1,800 and it's a 1440p/4K system. And the reason why I say this is because you get the RTX 3080, which is a 4K capable GPU but also a 1440p high FPS one. For the CPU, you get the i5 12600K, which is a great both gaming and content creation CPU, so if you're looking to do content creation, this system is also a good choice. However, I would upgrade the RAM to 32 gigs of RAM if content creation is your main thing. Anyway, like I was saying, for gaming, if you're looking for high FPS 1440p and your budget is under $2,000, this one is the one to go. And also, if you're looking for 4K gaming but you're not looking to spend more than $2,000, this one is also the right one. On top of that, on the Skytech website, you can see the estimated FPS that you can get on different games, so you will have the links to those PCs in the video description as I mentioned before, where you can also check the latest pricing because these PCs go out of stock really quickly, and that's why I will give you different alternatives in the description. I know I put a bunch of Skytech PCs here, but that's because I think they are the best in terms of price to performance, and a bunch of these are on a deal right now, so make sure to check the latest prices. If they are not in stock anymore, I will leave alternatives, but I don't believe they are going to be better than these PCs for these prices. With the next one, for $2,100, we have the Skytech Azure 2. This one comes with the i5 13600K and the RTX 4070 Ti. This is the exact combination that I do have on my PC build right now, and the only difference is that here you get 32 gigs of RAM of DDR5 and I have 32 gigs of RAM of DDR4. So if you want to see the estimated performance on this system, I have my benchmarks about my PC build. Now it's not going to be the exact same because you are buying a Prebuilt PC and mine is a PC build, but the components are the same, so they should perform really similar. For that reason, just click the link on the top right of the screen for you to see the estimated FPS at 1440p. This is just like the last one, a really high FPS 1440p PC, but also a 4K capable one. The main difference is that here you will get more FPS than the last one on both resolutions, 1440p and 4K gaming. Now for not that much more, you can get the ABS PC from Amazon. This one has the i7 13700KF and the 4070 Ti. The i7 is a better CPU than the last one, and the price difference is not that huge. However, you get 16 gigs of RAM instead of 32, and you are buying from Amazon and not directly from Skytech, where you can get a much better customer support. That's why I do recommend you going with the last one, but if you want something that is not that much more expensive and you get a better CPU, then you can go ahead and get this one. For $2,700, you can get the Eclipse with the RTX 4080. This is a 4K gaming PC. You should not have a 1440p monitor if you're going with a PC like this one. You get the AMD Ryzen 5 7600X and 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM. Like I was saying, if you're going for a 1440p monitor, at this point you are wasting your money. Only get this PC if you have a 4K one and you want to play everything at high settings at least. For a lower price, you can also get this Hyperpower PC from Best Buy with the i7 13700KF, which is a better CPU than the Ryzen 5 7600X, but here you get 16 gigs of RAM instead of 32. It's worth considering anyway because it's cheaper and it's going to give you a really similar performance to the Skytech Eclipse. However, just like I said with Amazon, you are not buying directly from the manufacturer, so if customer support is something that you really want, then it's worth spending the extra $70 on the Eclipse one. And talking about Eclipse, if you want the best of the best, I do recommend you buying this one as soon as possible. We are talking about another Eclipse, but this one has the RTX 4090 and the Ryzen 9 7900X, meaning that it's basically the best on the market. If you want the highest FPS at 4K, this one is the one to go with, and the price is only $3,400. Now I know, do not get mad, I said only, and the reason on why I said that is because on the Prebuilt PC market, PCs with the 4090 are going for at least $4,000. So this one is $600 less expensive than the average PC with this graphics card because it's on sale. That's why it's really important for you to check if it's in stock or not. Like I said before, I will give you another alternative in case it's not in stock, but if you can find it and you have the budget to buy it, I would recommend it 100% if you want the best of the best. That was the list. If you found it helpful, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly hit that bell button. Now if you have any questions about these Prebuilt PCs or PC builds in general, you can let me know in the comment section and I will try to reply as fast as possible. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.